How much of a disappointment is this as far as the slow pace of U.S. bureaucratic regulations is concerned?
Well, this has been going on for some time now, and clearly the technology is advancing very rapidly. So Amazon, I think, is emblematic of this challenge where we're trying to move forward with the technology and get it in the marketplace. It's very exciting for consumers. It's very exciting for many user industries that want to use it, but we're being slowed down by regulation, and we got to move that a little bit quicker.
So Amazon would rather test new technology in places like Europe or Asia. I'm surprised that Europe will have faster and more sort of innovation-encouraging regulations than the U.S. How did that come about?
That's a great question. There's testing and then there's deploying, of course, and we really want to field this technology as quickly as we can. The key, and the Europeans will tell you this, is harmonization, and even across Europe there's variability on how it's being allowed and how it's being implemented. I was yesterday in Montreal at the International Civil Aviation Organization Symposium on Unmanned Systems. We're trying to figure out how to get this harmonized around the world, and it's a real challenge.
I mean, are the safety concerns what's really holding us back here in the U.S.? That's what the FAA Associate Director in charge of this initiative said. She said it's too complex and that really the safety concerns are paramount.
Well, some things are not complex. We have now a proposed rule in the U.S. which is going through its usual statutory process for being able to fly under 500 feet within line of sight, daytime operations away from people in airports. That unlocks a huge number of potential applications and value, but we need to, at the same time, be working on more complex business and safety cases like flying beyond visual line of sight, flying in urban areas and things like that. So the work is really got to move forward in parallel and try and catch up, frankly, with the technology.
If you look at other regulators, I mean, where do you think this technology is going to take off first? Is it China? Is it Europe? Where do you see the best case for innovation and forward motion?
Well, I think it's going to, like most technologies, it's a global phenomenon. It's going to land differently in different markets. And I don't think that's going to be as much to do with the civil aviation authorities or the FAA as it has to do with how people want to utilize the technology. We just got done having a really good discussion on Capitol Hill with many of the agricultural organizations. Farmers want to use this technology, and they're really a low-risk case. So arguably, we'd like to think that the U.S. is going to be the place where this roots the quickest, no pun intended, and not just for farmers, but for many, many different industries and ultimately the consumer as well.
Brian, if Amazon or any other company tests this kind of technology in other markets, do they then use suppliers? Do they funnel revenue to those other markets rather than using U.S. companies?
Yeah, potentially. I think that probably the more important thing, however, is that Amazon has a huge business opportunity here in the U.S., as do many other cargo suppliers and many other industries. This is essentially the largest market. We think the uptake here is going to be very rapid once we have the ability to fly. But again, we want to do this on a global basis and harmonize it as well. When we can fly, we can test these technologies. We can prove how safe it can be and will be, and integrate it ultimately into spaces where there's a lot of manned aircraft as well.